Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting for Tuesday, December 17th, 2013. Let the roll call reflect that all council members are present, and pursuant to section 52-4-207, electronic meetings of the Open and Public Meetings Law, Councilmember Stevens will participate in the meeting via teleconference. We'll now turn the time over to Vice Chair Garner for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would the audience please rise and repeat after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. We will now observe a moment of silence. Thank you. First on the agenda are some recognitions. First, we'd like to recognize the Ogden High School restoration. We have proposed joint resolution 2013-20. Councilmember Van Hoosier.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Blair. This is quite an honor to read this, as we all know what a fabulous building Ogden High is and has become, and it's exceptional for our city. The joint resolution of the Ogden City Council and Mayor, 2013-20, recognizing the generous support that allowed for the exceptional restoration of the Ogden High School. Whereas construction of Ogden High School, OHS, began on October 29, 1937. This Art Deco building was constructed as a Works Progress Administration, which is WPA project. The cost of the new building came to a staggering $1.2 million at a time when people were struggling to survive on $50 a month. Many taxpayers protested building such a lavish educational facility, the first high school in the country to cost more than $1 million. The building was often referred to as $1 million high school. And whereas the school was designed by Hodgkin and McClellan, the same architect firm that designed Perry's Egyptian Theater, the Regional Forest Service Building, and the Ogden Municipal Building. In a 1937 publication of the Utah Educational Review, raved about the new facility, describing its architectural beauty as being unsurpassed in the entire West. And whereas OHS was in heavy use for 70 years, and time eventually took a toll on the facility, this resulted in a much-needed rehabilitation and seismic upgrade. In 2004, the National Trust for Historic Preservation offered a $10 million matching grant to restore OHS. The school was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2005, and in 2006, Ogden residents approved a bond to begin addressing school building needs, including the rehabilitation of OHS. Ogden School District pledged to raise the needed difference in cost through a fundraising campaign. And whereas the Ogden School District Foundation played a vital role in helping to raise funds for the project. A successful capital campaign and generous private donations exceeded $9 million and resulted in enough total funding to complete the restoration. Historic preservation of a public landmark requires requires doing everything possible for it to function for at least another 70 years. Significant upgrades to the facility included major improvements and additions to the auditorium, the cafeteria, the gymnasium, performing arts center, parking lots, science labs, and common areas. Seismic and environmental improvements were also completed. And whereas the Weber County Heritage Foundation helped to bring this project into the national spotlight, the National Trust for Historic Preservation recognized the efforts of Ogden School District, Ogden School Foundation, and private donors for the incredible support received and the more than $75 million that was used for the rehabilitation and restoration of this building. And whereas this restoration is one of only 18 projects that was honored by the National Trust during the National Preservation Conference in Indianapolis, Indiana. This prestigious award was provided because of the significant efforts made to retain this important landmark and the quality of the completed restoration. This remarkable structure has housed the education of thousands of Ogden residents and will continue to serve as a priceless centerpiece in our community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby recognize and express our sincere appreciation for the Ogden School District, Ogden School Foundation, Weber County Heritage Foundation, Hughes General Contractors, Cooper Roberts Simonson Associates, the ED Architects, and other countless community partners who so generously contributed to the restoration of Ogden High School. We are confident that this historic landmark will remain a strong presence in our community for many years to come. I move that we adopt this resolution 2013-20.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt Joint Resolution 2013-20 from Councilmember Van Hoosier and a second from Councilmember Gochner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
At this time, will Ken Crawford come forward? I also know that the former superintendent, Noel Zabriskie, is here, and he was at the beginning of this, if you'd come forward. And also EDA Architects, Bob Herman, Alan Hall, Foundation President.
Janice Voss.
Janice Voss. If you will. Start wherever. Yeah, good. Yeah, we're tickled. Hi, how are you?
Not bad for a cougar guy.
That's a compliment. I saw that. That's great. Good for you.
He sends her regards.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Stay up here while the picture.
Right here.
Whole meeting, just because. Well, it's been a while. How are you? Good. Good to see you again. Let's just
We're squeezing in a couple feet down the road.
I can get right behind Alan.
No.
Okay, perfect.
Have the right seat.
Would maybe Alan or somebody needs to, would you like to say something, a few words?
And to address the council and those who are here and the mayor, we really appreciate the recognition. As was mentioned, the voters of Ogden City passed a bond in, it was June 27, 2006. I happen to remember that date. $95 million bond, and 4 days later I became superintendent. And that was a wonderful project to start with. Noting that my 5 children have attended and graduated from Ogden High School is close to my heart. The community raised $9 million in a phenomenal situation following a dip in recession. It was pretty tough. And Alan Hall, Rob White were the Catalyst co-chairs in bringing about that great effort. And I'd like Alan to also take a minute. But thank you very much for this recognition. I'll pass this along to current Superintendent Smith and all those who did a great and wonderful work for the community.
It's an honor for me to stand before you tonight as an alum of Ogden High. And you know that we who love that school never have let that building be torn down. And so many of us step forward with $1 here and some with even more to make sure that that magnificent building is a treasure and an icon forever in this community. So we're just grateful to be a part of this great movement that restored that building and look forward to making sure it stays for another couple thousand years on top of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next recognition is Weber State University's 125th anniversary, and it's proposed joint proclamation declaring January 7th, 2014 as Weber State University Day in Ogden City. Councilmember Gochner.
Thank you. This is a joint proclamation of the Ogden City Council and Mayor declaring January 7th as Weber State University Day in Ogden City. Whereas for nearly 125 years, Weber State University has offered exceptional and affordable education to Ogden residents and those in surrounding areas. The school opened its doors in downtown Ogden as Weber State Academy on January 7, 1889. It was founded by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and became a college during the first 2 decades of the 20th century. And whereas in the 1920s, the school changed its name to Weber College. The students became Wildcats, and Waldo the mascot was born after a sports writer described Weber's athletes as a scrappy bunch of wildcats. Still are. In 1933, Weber College was established as a junior state college, and its ownership was transferred to the state of Utah. And whereas after World War II, Weber State moved its campus to Harrison Boulevard. Upon the governor's recommendation, the Utah legislature withdrew its support from Weber State in 1953. But an outpouring of public support for an Ogden referendum reversed this decision and ultimately cemented the relationship between college and town. This helped pave the way to becoming a 4-year institution in 1962. And whereas Weber State College became recognized as a university and was renamed as Weber State University in 1991. The university experienced significant growth during the 1990s and opened the Davis campus in 2003. And whereas in 2007, the Center for Community Engaged Learning, formerly the Community Involvement Center, was established. This center has since sustained a partnership with the community, and students have contributed more than 765,000 combined hours of service. This has been recognized through the Carnegie Classification for Community Engagement, and a certificate was awarded to the university in 2008. And whereas Weber State has been profoundly successful in making education more accessible, the university continues to open doors to learning through its affordable tuition, scholarship programs, and community education center. These provide increased opportunities to many community members who otherwise wouldn't have access to a college education. And whereas the university now serves more than 26,000 students, primarily from Weber, Davis, and Morgan counties, and offers more than 225 degree programs consisting of associate's, bachelor's, and master's degrees. The institution consistently receives national recognition for providing quality programs in business, nursing, and many other fields. Weber State has maintained a reputation for excellence and has been an unparalleled contributor to the Ogden community for the past 125 years. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ogden Council and Mayor Caldwell, the Weber State University President and Board of Trustees Chair, proudly declare January 7th, 2014 as Weber State University Day in Ogden City and encourage all residents and Wildcats everywhere to join in this celebration and wear purple on that day. We express our sincere appreciation for the tens of thousands of university leaders, faculty, staff, and students who have contributed to the many successes of Weber State. We look forward to its continued accomplishments for many years to come. Go Wildcats. And I want to point out, everybody up here has purple on. And with that, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt this joint proclamation.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to adopt this joint proclamation from Councilmember Gochner and a second from Councilmember Van Hoosier. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
And
passes.
Mr. Hall, I think you get to wear several hats tonight. And I have this for you.
I know.
We're sending the memos to the wrong person.
On behalf of our trustees, certainly the president, Chuck White, his administration, all of our faculty, our staff, all of the great students who have been to this institution and those who are there now and those who will come, we extend our deep appreciation to you as city leaders for this wonderful recognition tonight. We're grateful to be a university in this town and contribute in many ways as we can to the success of the citizens that are here. And it's nice to be a campus town. And it's nice to have something downtown as well, isn't it, Mayor, where we bring ourselves back here into the community more directly. So on behalf of all these wonderful people and supporters and all those who make Weber State what it is, we thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll break protocol real quick and say, Weber State, Weber State.
Great.
Okay. Next is a recognition of Dr. J. Ronald Galley. Proposed Joint Resolution 2013-17 honoring Dr. Galley for an extraordinary 50 years of teaching at Weber State University. And it's my honor to read this for Dr. Galley. It says, honoring Dr. J. Ronald Galley for an extraordinary 50 years at Weber State University, whereas Dr. J. Ronald Galley has dedicated 5 decades of his life to the physics program at Weber State University. He obtained a doctorate in physics from the University of Utah in 1963 and applied for work at universities across the nation and industry. Weighing his many offers, he consulted his longtime mentor, Dr. Henry Eyring, a noted chemist and dean of the graduate school at the University of Utah, who had worked at Princeton with Albert Einstein. It was then determined that his best option was to teach at Weber State College. And whereas in 1963, Dr. Galley began his career as a physics professor, he has since had a profound impact on the countless students. He is renowned for teaching and has the longest tenure of any professor in Weber State history. Students who are unfamiliar with physics quickly become immersed in the subject because of his pristine teaching methods and classroom experiments. His classes are always the first to fill up each semester. He is a master of physics demonstrations that his students enjoy so much. There are even videos of his demonstrations that are sold by Pasco. He serves as a volunteer to elementary students and Boy Scout troops and provides his demonstrations on a regular basis. And whereas Dr. Galley has been involved with many communities and held a number of assignments at Weber State. He served as chair of the physics department from 1964 to 1970 and again from 1983 to 1994. He was also dean of the College of Science for a number of years. He has been involved with curriculum, athletics, buildings and grounds, and helped other faculty members. His efforts have all been exemplary and shown dedication to the institution, students, and the surrounding community. And whereas, as a physicist, Dr. Galley has a deep, intuitive understanding of many areas. He is well known for developing innovative research and is the inventor of the cat twist, which provides a valuable mechanical model duplicating the motion of a cat twisting to land on its feet. In 1995, this work was published in the Physics Teacher Journal. Some of his other noteworthy publications include The Square Light Clock and Special Relativity and Principle of Relativistic Photon Reflection. That's a tongue twister. And whereas Dr. Galley is honest and forthright in his judgments, a diligent worker, and relentless in his advocacy of quality, integrity, and academic responsibility, he continues to teach introductory physics, and because he has such a great love for his work, he has no immediate plans for retirement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby recognize Dr. J. Ronald Galley for his outstanding contributions to Ogden City, Weber State University, and the physics community over the past 50 years. His noteworthy achievements have helped many Ogden area residents to advance in learning and prepare for successful careers. With that, I will make a motion that we adopt this resolution 2013-17.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion from myself to adopt proposed resolution 2013 and a second from Councilmember Wicks. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
That passes. Brother Professor Galley, would we ask you to come forward? Transport it safer. Do you want to move it up?
Take a picture. Yeah, pull it out there. There you go.
Yeah, let's have your family.
I've got 6 children here and 5 parents. They work kind of one.
Bart is always
Bart.
You two should worry. I'm always behind you two. Here, I'll put that back away and get it to you.
Now we'll have you say a few words.
This came as a total shock to me and surprise when Amy called me and told me that the city council was up to some kind of a citation. And the mayor was involved with it too, as a joint resolution, I guess. I want to thank Mayor Caldwell and Council Member Bart Blair and all of the other council members and all the leaders of the city and the planners and anyone that had anything to do with this and anything to do with the development of this great city that made it possible to have a great university for me to teach at and to do research at. And I want to thank all my colleagues from Weber State here and all my friends and family members and anyone that had anything to do with anything that I may have been successful at. I attribute my success to the help and support of all of those who have gone before me and certainly to this great state and this great city, this great country. I thank the Lord for the opportunity to have had a chance to get an education and then contribute back and pay back in some minor way to those students that have come along that I've had an opportunity to interact with and hopefully help along the way. I want to thank you all for coming, all my friends and colleagues from Weber State, and thank you all very much. This is a thrill for me. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Galley. We'll now turn it over to Vice Chair Garner, who has some other recognitions.
We're going to move this along a little bit, so I'm going to read the next three recognitions, and I'm going to consolidate them a little bit and recognize these great efforts. The first one is proposed joint resolution 2013-22, honoring the 2013 Weber State University women's soccer team. The Weber State women's soccer team had an extraordinary season, capturing the 2013 Big Sky Conference title and finishing the year with 30 goals scored. They were led by Mackenzie Harrison. She had the most goals by an individual since 2006. Coach Tim Crompton, a dear friend of mine, and his staff did an exceptional job leading the team to its 8th conference tournament and 5th appearance in the title match. So now therefore be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell proudly recognize the Weber State University women's soccer team. Get the right one here in front of me. And for their tremendous success in earning the title of the 2013 Big Sky Conference Championship. We express our sincere best wishes for much continued success in the years to come, and go Wildcats. So with that, I'll make a resolution that we adopt 2013-22, honoring the Weber State women's soccer team.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adopt proposed joint resolution 2013-22 from Vice Chair Garner and a second from Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
So now if Coach Crompton will come up, I saw him over here earlier.
We expect to see everyone.
Thank you.
And Coach, are your girls here?
They're all here.
Have them.
Oh, yeah.
Come on up, ladies.
Most definitely.
Quite a photo, won't it?
We'll get some on this side too of the coach.
Get as cozy as possible, that would be.
Oh, it just says Big Sky. What are your shirts?
What are the shirts mean?
Oh, just Big Sky Conference Championship. Good. We couldn't read it, so. 25 years, okay.
In this one?
You're in this one, but they're not as tall. Hold on, other people are taking pictures, so hang on, kids.
They didn't tell me I was going to have to say anything, so, and I knew all those people there weren't here for me. So, I just want to say thanks. Thank you very much for honoring the team. I believe that the program that we have is a good representation of our community, and we certainly are very fortunate for the tremendous support that we get from our community, our administration, and we have a group of players on our team that are local players in general, and I think they represent the city and our institution as well as any group of student athletes that I've ever had. So again, thank you very much for your time and recognition.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Tim. Continuing with our Weber State theme tonight, we want to also honor the Weber State University Men's Soccer Club, Resolution 2013-21. The Weber State Men's Soccer Club finished its season with an amazing 10, 0-1 record and earned the title of the Aztec Cup champions and regional champions. Because men's soccer is a club sport, Weber State University student Brandon Carrillo performed the typical duties of a coach and did an outstanding job leading the team to success throughout the season. And the soccer club was founded in 1992. So now therefore be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell proudly recognize the Weber State University Men's Soccer Club for their tremendous success throughout the 2013 season. We express our sincere best wishes for much continued success in years to come. Again, great job, Wildcats. Good. I'll make a proposal that we adopt Joint Resolution 2013-21.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adopt Joint Resolution 2013-21 by Vice Chair Garner and a second from Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Congratulations. What's his name?
Who's here from our cross-country team? Or excuse me, our men's soccer club.
It's Brandon.
Brandon,
Carrillo.
come on up. Everyone's hand.
Brandon, do you want to bring the team up?
Come on, guys. You can't get out of this one. Oh. So who's the coach?
We can start. Right. I know.
Someone else took coaching responsibilities.
Sorry.
We'll clarify that.
How's that?
There you go.
Yeah, I'm in.
Why don't you stand up on it?
I'm good.
Good job, guys.
And I was provided with some information too that Brandon, a player, and Will Rader was also the coach. So we're going to have Will and Brandon come up and just say a few words.
Brandon just had his wisdom teeth taken out, so he won't be able to say too much. But we really appreciate everything the community does for us. We are obviously supported wholeheartedly by our community. We generate most of our funding and everything through our community sponsors and through camps and various participation from our community supporters. And so Brandon is obviously our club president and does all of our functions, all of our scheduling, everything. And it makes my job a lot easier. I get to show up and coach and train the team. And also Ken and Powell was a huge supporter of us, also one of my assistant coaches this year. And, this season was a very good point for me. And Brandon and Ken did a very good job this year helping me. So.
Pretty impressive to go undefeated, so thank you. The last recognition that we'll do is Joint Resolution 2013-23, honoring the 2013 Weber State University Women's Cross Country Team. The Weber State Women's Cross Country Team was extraordinary in their performance during the 2013 season and earned the title of Big Sky Conference champions. Many of these athletes also secured individual titles and received academic honors. Coach Paul Pilkington and his staff led the team to its third consecutive and seventh overall conference title, and Coach Paul Pilkington was also named the 2013 Coach of the Year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell proudly recognize the Weber State University women's cross-country team for their tremendous success in earning the title of 2013 Big Sky Conference champions. We express our sincere best wishes for much continued success in the years to come. So with that, I'll make a joint or proposal that we adopt Joint Resolution 2013-23.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt Joint Resolution 2013-23 by Vice Chair Garner and a second from Councilmember Gottner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Congratulations.
It's great that you have the trophy here with you today, too.
Girls soccer had theirs.
As all these teams are coming up, if all the athletes will hold off, I just want to read one more statement before everyone leaves. Jerry, why don't you bring some of those girls on this side?
Thank you. We appreciate the recognition. As I look through that team right there, we have a few missing because we're not in school right now, and they've gone back home. But just sitting on that back row, there are 4 Ogden High former distance runners on the team right now, and including Jamie Stokes, who was all conference, who's a sophomore and has run very well for us. And then Summer Harper is an Orem girl who won the Big Sky Conference Championship as a freshman. And we're finally being able to get athletes away from BYU. Both her mom and a brother and sister ran at BYU, and it's now great for us to be able to beat BYU with their local runners. So we're happy. And Mayor, we wanted to thank you for the great trail system that you continue to support and develop. We have the best distance training area in the state of Utah, and it helps in our recruiting. So thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Paul said, what a great tradition we have with Ogden High School and Weber State University and other high schools that feed into this wonderful community. These student athletes pride themselves in being part of their teams, and they are respected among their peers and our community. The dedication of this team is evident by their commitments to prepare well and successfully compete in these events. The efforts of all teams were quite remarkable, and we wish you our very best during your future seasons. Again, go Wildcats, and thank you for being here.
I'd just like to say before we move on, we expect to see you here every year.
They're making up for the football team.
That's right. Oh, and Brother Spencer's going to stick around. Super. Oh, he's probably got a whole journal entry, things he'll make fun of me for. Okay. Next is the Certificate of Achievement for financial reporting. And tonight we'll have Denise Steck here from the Government Finance Officers Association.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me here this evening. It's a stone. I'm honored tonight to be a representative of the Utah Government Finance Officers Association as well as the National Government Finance Officers Association. And this looks more like a council meeting. I served in Draper for 10 years, and it was rare that we had a room full, so I was really impressed by your citizen participation. But then I saw everybody leave when it gets to finance and budgeting. That's pretty normal. I'm here to present your city with the National Award for the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. The Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting has been awarded to Ogden City for its Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or CAFR, sometimes referred to, for the year ending June 30th, 2012. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of government accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. The CAFR, the particular CAFR that was submitted, was judged by an impartial panel to meet the highest standards of the program, including demonstrating a constructive spirit of disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the CAFR. The award marks the 9th consecutive year your city's received this recognition and your city's 21st award. Henry Ford once said, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, but working together is success." I'd like to present this award to Mayor Caldwell with my sincere congratulations as he's worked together with your city administrators and your finance department in this achievement. Thank you.
And I'll accept this on behalf of Lisa Stout and Lori Johnson, who worked so hard on making this the stellar product it was. So thank them very much.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the fiscal year 2013 financial audit report. And we'll have a presentation of the CAFR. And I believe Lisa Stout is up first.
We're thrilled to be here. Truly is a comprehensive financial report, and we're pleased to present it for your review. Amy will be delivering those into your Dropbox. It'll be the financial report and also the single audit. And then I am pleased to introduce Paul Skeen. He is the audit partner with Eide Bailly, who has worked with us, and he'll just tell you what kind of audit letter we had this year.
Well, first of all, I have major scarf envy. I'm hoping the bookstore's open a little later tonight. Those are fantastic. As all of you know, this was an interesting change of auditor. We have a completely new audit team, but the letterhead is the same as last year because of some unique circumstances to our firm. So we'll treat this like a change of auditor because in practicality it was. So for Lisa and Lori and their entire team, this is not a fun year. When you're bringing on a new auditor, there's new questions, there's a fresh set of eyes looking at things that have been in place for years and years. And so first and foremost, my hat's off to them, and I hope you'll each take the opportunity to thank them, because when I send emails at midnight and I get a response, you know they're working very, very hard, and they have been burning the midnight oil for the last few weeks to make sure the deadlines were met and that the finances of the city were reported in an appropriate manner. So I appreciate them. Her eyes are less red than the last time I saw her, so she must be settling in, but tremendous effort on their part. We're pleased to report that we will be offering an unqualified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance we can give, meaning that the financial statements that you'll see are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards. We're highly confident that next year you'll have someone from the GFOA once again offering the Certificate of Achievement, because the financial statements are in excellent shape. A tremendous amount of effort's gone into there. As is sometimes the case when you have a fresh set of eyes, there was one adjustment that we found that is not a big deal. It actually relates to long before many of us were involved in the current capacities. It goes back to when years ago we had to convert and bring all the roads and bridges and everything else onto the financial statements of the city. There was a little bit of a hiccup in the transition there. It doesn't impact the financial status. There's no impact on the budget. There's no overall impact. It's just reflects the true value of those assets as they should be recorded. Other than that, it was a clean process. It was a tough process, but we appreciated everyone's cooperation in making sure that our many, many questions were answered to our satisfaction. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we we adopt the financial audit report for review.
I'll second.
We have a motion to accept for review the 2013 financial audit report from Councilmember Gochner and a second from Vice Chair Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next is the Citizens Advisory Committee, and we have a presentation of the Sunset Report, I believe by Jeremy Peterson.
Chair, it would be appropriate to mention that he is our representative from the House of Representatives also.
That would be appropriate.
It is coming up on an election year.
Please. Oh, okay, so I'll control the laptop here. Oh, okay, we'll move over here. Well, Mr. Chairman and City Council and Mayor, it's good to see you. The last time I presented before you, I rambled on and you cut the mic off, so to save us both some grief, I'll be brief and get through this report. So today I come to you as a citizen and as the chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee. We're to give a report on our activities from July 1st, 2010 to June 30th, 2013. The role of the Citizens Advisory Committee, as you guys are most likely aware, is to help the city deploy its use of funds for HUD funding, the block grant that we receive. The Citizens Advisory Committee, most importantly, fulfills a HUD requirement to receive those funds. And so our participation and awareness of what the city is doing in implementing those funds is very helpful. We also make recommendations to the City Council within our scope. Part of the plan with the Citizens Advisory Committee is to oversee the consolidated 5-year plan, which we're coming up on and implementing a new one since I've been there. There's annual action plans that we review and also amendments, and then finally a CAPER report, which you guys have received this year. Over the past 3 years, the committee has helped oversee about $7 million in funds that have been used. About $4.5 million of those have come from federal grants. Another $2.7 million have come from income. That's programs that are money that's been put out into the community, like the Ononogden loans. And as homes are sold, those funds are recouped and brought back for reuse in programs. And so, adding that together with the allotted amount from the federal government gives us about 7.2 for the 3-year period. Of course, the purpose of the block grant and the HUD funds is to help promote improving our existing housing stock, improve home ownership, mostly through the Ononogden program, community development, through infrastructure improvements, and through some business development. There are many projects that the city has been involved in regarding residential housing. In fact, the Department of Community Development will be celebrating their 100th home. I believe it's tomorrow or Thursday. Tomorrow, okay. And so everyone's invited to that. I believe it's 2 o'clock for that event. But so 100 homes that they've acquired from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, rehabbed, and put back out into the marketplace to improve homeownership and the quality of our housing stock. Here are some of the projects you can see that have been participated in. The funds have also been used for emergency home improvements. Here we see someone having their sewer line replaced. Over the past 10 years, vacant housing in the East Central area that these funds are focused on has decreased 6%, and homeowner occupancy has increased by 4%. Here we have a before and after. The city has also been involved in zoning enforcement, taking properties from being salvage yards into actual residences. Here's some examples of some infrastructure improvements, improving the streetscape. Recently, well, in the last 3 years, there was a project on Jefferson Avenue where homes, these were economically obsolescent and dilapidated homes, were assembled by the city, several in a row, and demolished, and new housing was placed where those previously existed. That significantly improved that part of the neighborhood. Here's a project that was done on 23rd Street, some prairie-style homes. This project is on the 28th block of Lincoln. These homes are nearly finished. There's a few more being built. And finally, some of the funds are used to spur small business. Here's a map that kind of shows you the scope of some of the target neighborhoods. The kind of pinkish box is the Jefferson Historic District, and then you've got the 25th block of Quincy, Fowler, Jackson, Eccles have been target areas where a lot of improvements have occurred. If you include areas that are being worked on, these blue represent infill projects that are either in progress or very close to fruition. And this, I can tell the difference here. There's these purple or pinkish hued spots. These are all the homes acquired from the Department of Housing and Urban Development that have been rehabbed by the city over the last 3 years. As you can see, there's quite a number there. We talked about jobs, and then also revitalizing some of the central business district. So moving forward, we would request from the City Council to renew the Citizens Advisory Committee. There are a number, we're going to need to appoint some new members. Some have gone into retirement or have moved away, and so there'll be some members that will need to populate that committee. But we'll continue to advise the city on what we think are priorities for continuing to improve the neighborhood and fulfilling these objectives. And I would ask for your support for that motion. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
There's no further discussion. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt the, I lost my place. The ordinance 2013-52 to extend the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 2013-52 by Councilmember Gochner and a second from Vice Chair Garner. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gardner?
Aye.
Chair Blair?
Aye. That passes. Thank you. Next, we have 3 items under common consent: the Citizens Advisory Committee, 2014 ramp projects, and a proposed joint resolution for Willie Moore. Can I get a motion for those 3 items?
I'll make a motion that we adopt those common consent items.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adopt the items listed under common consent by Councilmember Wicks and a second from Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
And I'll give a quick report because of the schedule of Willie Moore moving. I presented the joint resolution to him on Sunday. It was a packed house. He was surprised and thrilled and cried and really wanted to extend his appreciation to the city and council and mayor for honoring him in that way. So I have some pictures for Amy Sue. I had Jeff take pictures. He doesn't do as good of a job as you do, but he fits in a pinch. And I know Mayor Caldwell stopped by to catch him, and Willie had gotten tired and gone home, so about 5 minutes before.
His prerogative, yep, he's earned that.
Yeah, so that was a nice thing to do for somebody in our community, and he appreciated it, so thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Next up is approval of minutes. First, the minutes of the regular meeting of October 22nd, 2013. Councilmember Gochner.
I have reviewed those and found them to be accurate.
And the minutes of the study session of October 22nd, 2013. Councilmember Heyer.
Yes, I have also reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate and would make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes by Councilmember Heyer and a second from Councilmember Gochner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up are public hearings. First is the budget amendment for the Wasatch Worldwide LLC. And this agenda item has been withdrawn by the mayor. Therefore, the public hearing is no longer necessary and has been canceled. So with that, we'll move on to the West Doxy Street vacation. And I believe Rick Grover will present that for us.
Chair, members of the council, the Planning Commission reviewed an item on Doxy Street. It's west of Wall Avenue. And the request at that time was to look at vacating 118 feet of Doxy Street. Doxy Street is approximately 49.5 feet in width. And when the Jefferson Community Plan was done, which you may be familiar with, there was a request in there to look at vacating Doxy Street west of Wall Avenue because where it ends, it abuts the railroad tracks and also abuts a building on the other side of there, which Doxy cannot extend. So with this request, there's a couple things that are looked at with this, is if there's a public purpose. As the Planning Commission reviewed this, they found that there was not a public purpose for this street because it cannot extend through. And then also utilities and that, there's no public purpose for that as well. The abutting property owners on each side, it's the exact same property owner, so that's not an issue with that regard. And also, the railroad has put up a fence that runs along the western portion of this section, and so it hasn't been used for years. And so with that, the Planning Commission recommended approval of this, and they forwarded it on to the council.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Grover? Okay, thank you. And the petitioner is here. We'd like to invite David Bornemeyer to come forward.
You got the name right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the main beneficiary of the proposed street vacation is Western Gateway Storage, a building directly to the south of Doxy Street. My name is David Bornemeyer, president of Western Gateway Storage, which is a nearly century-old company originating here in Ogden, right off of 21st Street and about the Weber River, now located in its present location off of 28th Street. Again, nearly century old, serving many of our community businesses, school districts, and charities as a cold storage and logistics company. Our neighbor to the east is Ogden Rescue Mission, and with our help, we were able to facilitate handing out hundreds of Thanksgiving meals with their assistance, with our donated space that we afforded them. The additional land will offer flexibility by connecting two large parcels that we have to the north and the south of the proposed street vacation. Allow us to, our site planning will be a little bit more flexible with regards to having this vacated property. There are many things that I could talk to you about this unique business that we have, but in the interest of time, mindful of yours as well, I'd like to take any questions that you have regarding the petition.
Any questions for Mr. Bornemeyer? No? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts with the rescue mission also. Thank you.
Okay. We will now accept public input. Is it? Yeah, this is a public hearing, so we'll now accept public input on this item.
Seeing no movement, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to close the public hearing by Councilmember Gochner and a second from Councilmember Wicks. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And I'll make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2013-48.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 2013-48 by Vice Chair Garner and a second from Councilmember Heyer. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier.
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks.
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gardner.
Aye.
Chair Blair.
Aye. That passes. Next are reports from the administration. Fleet lease refinancing. I believe
Mr. Goodwin's going to begin, and then if there's questions, he brought reinforcements.
I appreciate you sticking around for a long meeting to hear a little bit about finance. Sometimes that's a little bit of a dry subject to other people other than us number crunchers, but it's exciting for me. I can't claim a lot of connection with the sports teams and that you've honored tonight, but I have had my hair cut a number of times by Willie Moore over the years. So if that gives me any more vested interest in the meeting tonight. At the request of Mayor Caldwell and CAO Mark Johnson, we continually look at issues that the city has where we might refinance debt issues that the city has to see if there is a possibility of making some kind of savings. And one of the issues that we looked at over the last couple of months was a lease agreement that the city had entered into a couple of years ago. And we invited a couple of other financial institutions to come in and look at that lease agreement. Just to give you a little bit of background on that particular agreement, and if you can zoom in on the green one for me, Amy Sue. In May of 2012, the city entered into a lease agreement with Wells Fargo Bank. The original principal on the lease was a little over $3.4 million. The interest rate was at 2.62. It was a 60-month term lease, and it was secured by a number of vehicles that the city owned, including about 57 Dodge pickups, some tweener trucks, which I think you're familiar with, a fire truck, and 10 refuse trucks. We had a proposal come in from U.S. Bank offering to refinance that lease at 1.35%. That proposal would save the city over the remaining term of the lease about $60,000. In the large scheme of things, that doesn't seem like a large amount of money, but I equate that to the value of 2 police cars. So we followed with U.S. Bank and asked them to give us details on that proposal. At the same time, our fleet manager, Richard Brookins, and the fleet committee were looking at some proposals to purchase some new vehicles, trade in some of the vehicles that were on this existing lease, and purchase new ones. And we looked at that whole package and determined that there were some real benefits to the city of not only refinancing this lease, but also restructuring it so that we could take advantage of the purchase of some new vehicles, some trade-in values that were being offered that were extremely good, and finding some benefits from the city, not only financially, but also from the health of our fleet group. So what we are proposing at this time to do is take the lease that we entered into in 2002 or 2012 and refinance that with U.S. Bank at the interest rate of 1.35. Just an interesting sidelight, U.S. Bank called me yesterday, and they had locked in the rate of 1.35. They called me and let me know that when I saw the final documents, there would be a different interest rate on the documents. Scared me a little bit for a minute, but what they proposed to do was lower that rate from 135 to 129, which isn't a huge reduction. It's just 0.06%, but it is an indication of the fact that we have institutions out there that are interested in Ogden City and are looking to be partners with us, and I think that's a positive sign for the city. So the proposal would be to refinance that lease at 1.29%. And in order to facilitate the purchase of the new vehicles, it becomes necessary for us to break that lease into 3 parts. The reason that we need to do that is because we will be trading in some of the vehicles that are used as security on this lease, and in order for us to trade them in, it makes it easier for us to go through that procedure if we break those vehicles into separate leases, and then we can replace those vehicles with the new ones that we purchase very easily without having to disturb one great big lease. So what we would do is refinance that lease and break it into 3 parts. One part would be the 10 refuse trucks that we have, and we would take those 10 refuse trucks, refinance them now at the 1.29 that has been offered by U.S. Bank, and then order 10 brand new 2014 Peterbilt trucks that we would take delivery of in late February, early March of next year. And at that time, we would rework this lease, take the existing 10 older trucks, trade them in for the brand new trucks, and create a new lease for the 10 new trucks. And I'll give you a little bit of detail on that one in just a moment. The second piece that we would do would be a piece for the 57 Dodge Ram pickups that are on the current lease. We would take those 57 pickups and again trade them in for new vehicles at the current rate of 129 that U.S. Bank has offered. And then we would order 57 brand new pickup trucks. And again, we would take delivery of those in February, March, in that time frame. And at that time, we would take this piece, rework it to accept those brand new trucks as security on a new piece of a new lease. And again, I'll describe those in just a second. And then the third piece of the lease would be the tweeners and the fire truck, which would be a standalone lease of their own. It's not proposed at this time that we do anything with those trucks. We wouldn't be trading those in. So this piece of the lease would just stand on its own for the remaining term of the lease, which is 42 months. We would not be reworking this piece in February or March of next year. Now, if we can go over to the gold list. So these are the 2 pieces that we would rework in February or March. The first piece is we would take the 10 new refuse trucks, the 2014 trucks. They come at a total cost of $2,713,000. We receive $140,000 trade-in on each of those trucks, so we would have a trade-in of $1,400,000. We would need to continue to refinance the existing portion of the old lease, and plus we would need to finance an additional $1,313,000 for the purchase of the new vehicles. So the total new lease would be $2,180,000. We would do that in February or March of next year. The interest rate at this point is to be determined. It will depend upon the market at February or March of next year. We don't anticipate that the rate is going to change drastically in the next 2 months. An indication of that seems to be the news that U.S. Bank gave us yesterday, that they're looking to give us a better rate than what they had initially locked into. But on this schedule, I put in a 1.5 as an interest rate just to give us a little bit of a cushion so that you would know approximately where we would be at. We would rework that lease as a 60-month lease, so we're going to take it out a little bit longer, but that allows us the flexibility to lower our payments over 60 months and give us the flexibility to make sure that we have enough money in the equipment replacement reserve and our refuse fund to cover the payments that will become due over that time period. This particular lease will be paid with money that's available in the refuse fund. Our finance office, Lori Johnson and her group have examined the refuse fund. It's very healthy at this point. They have substantial retained earnings at this time to be able to handle the lease payment that will be required for this portion of the lease, and we'll be able to carry that load without a problem. Let me just move up to the next one. The second piece of the lease will be 57 new pickup trucks. It's very interesting on these that part of the reason that this is a good deal for the city is the trade-in value that we're getting. We're buying new F-150s, which are half-ton pickups, and also some F-250s, which are three-quarter-ton pickups. On the 150s, they're giving us a trade-in of $24,000 per vehicle. The original cost on those vehicles was $21,300. So we are actually getting a higher trade-in value than what the original cost of the trucks were. On the three-quarter tons, the original cost on those was $24,500. The trade-in on those is $25,500. We're getting $1,000 more trade-in on each truck than what we originally paid for them. Because of that high trade-in value, the cost of the vehicles to us is fairly minimal. We'll receive all 57 trucks at an additional cost of $229,000. So the total amount that we'll need to finance there will be approximately $1,166,000. And
Michael, we didn't fix this slide. It does show 63 vehicles, but we just didn't fix it from the work session. I just wanted to make sure they knew that we're not buying 63.
Again, we'll finance those, extend the term a little bit over 60 months to help our payments. And for purposes of our discussion here, I put in an interest rate of 1.5. The lease payments on those will come from our annual replacement funds in the fleet group. And as we've analyzed the amount of replacement money that we have there and what is in the plan for the next few years, we feel at this point that we have substantial amounts to cover that lease without having to do anything different than what the plan currently calls for. One final piece that I want to mention before I open it up to any questions that you might have. Because of the low interest rates that we're looking at right now, it is proposed that we also do a separate lease and buy 35 new police vehicles. The cost of those 35 vehicles would be $1,033,000. We currently have in this year's budget $157,000, which I think was planned on buying 5 vehicles. Is that right, Richard? But because of the interest rates that we can get at this point, it is proposed that we take that $157,000, use it as a down payment on the 35 new vehicles, and finance the rest now instead of waiting for the next couple of years to roll around when it was originally planned to buy those 35 vehicles. We will save money by financing now at that lower rate. We don't know what the rates would be in 1 or 2 years when we went out to buy them, or what monies we would have available. So now is a great opportunity for us to do that. U.S. Bank is committed to come in at 1.23% on that lease. The rate is a little lower because it would be a 24-month lease, which is a short-term lease rather than long-term. Money is planned in the current equipment replacement plan for payments for those 2 years to cover those police vehicles. So in 2 years, we can own 35 new vehicles rather than waiting for 2 years to buy them in the future. So with that brief background, I'd be glad to entertain any questions you might have, address any concerns.
Mr. Goodwin, just, I think for the public too, this is a lease-to-own agreement, correct?
Correct. These are all what are called municipal leases, meaning that at the end of the term of the lease, we own those vehicles as opposed to a closed-end lease, where in a closed-end lease, at the end of the term of the lease, those vehicles go back to the vendor. We will own all the vehicles at the end of the lease.
Thank you.
Were there any questions at all? I notice everybody's being taken care of here, but maybe the fire department. Am I misunderstanding this, or are we doing anything for the fire department?
Mike, let me answer that question. The fire fleet is actually in the best shape it's been in probably 25, 30 years. The fire truck we just purchased, which we paid cash for, $440,000, will actually complete the fleet, including a newer unit for the backup unit. So fire feels good. We rotate the ambulances out on a regular basis, but fire feels really good about where they are and with their fleet. It's in very good shape. It has fulfilled everything that was in the audit several years ago. One other issue on the pickups that I should mention: all the pickups right now are out of warranty. These will bring on a new warranty. All these trucks are ready now for new tires and all the other things that go with vehicles that are in heavy use. So the fact that we're able to trade these in for a little more than what we bought them for, and to have the warranty and new tires and all those things, it really is the right deal. I mean, normally we wouldn't trade in these newer trucks, but it's the right kind of deal, I think, for the community and for our employees, just because I don't know that we'll ever find a deal like this, quite like this again.
The vendor is from within Ogden City,
That's
which
right.
is important too,
That's right.
I think.
I'll extend my thanks to the Fleet Committee. This was a really unique find from their end. Had they not met quarterly with all of the different departments, fire included, all of the department directors met and have constantly been looking at ways to address the fleet, creative ways, opportunities, everything else, and their commitment was able to identify this. Had we not had that Fleet Committee as committed as they were, this would have gone by and the window would have shut and we would have looked back and kicked it. I wish I could trade my truck in for more than I paid for it and get 1.23% interest on anything. So they've done a phenomenal job in identifying some unique solutions to some sticky spots. So thank you all.
I don't normally sit on the Fleet Committee, but I have over the last couple of months because of my role in the financing. And every member of the Fleet Committee, as I sat in on during those 2 months, was just really excited about this deal and really were excited that they were able to work together and meeting the needs that they all had. And I think we've done a good job with not only these vehicles, but meeting the needs of everybody in the city. It's been a good deal.
I don't have a question, but actually just a comment. And following up on that, I mean, kudos for an amazing agreement that's been put together. And then I just wanted to throw out food for thought for at a later date, especially in light of today's bad air quality, that maybe we ought to consider adjusting our financial model for acquiring electric, hybrid, natural gas kind of vehicles, and take into factors maybe after we buy them, like the cheaper fuel, the decreased maintenance, the longer vehicle life, and see if we can't get some cleaner burning vehicles into the fleet. If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2013-28.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adopt proposed resolution 2013-28 by Councilmember Gochner and a second from Councilmember Heyer. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Van Hoosier?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Gochner?
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gardner?
Aye.
Chair Blair?
Aye. That passes. Next is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding your concerns or ideas. Please state your name and address clearly for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
James Carroll. I preside and live in Ogden, 2634 Quincy, apartment 1. 27 years in Ogden. I was listening to these compliments about the fellow neighbors that succeeded. I think of myself as a pioneer, a pioneer of Ogden City Neighborhood Watch. Mayor, I wanted to tell you tonight that I appreciate you and the city council and the law enforcement for the good job you've done to combat on crime and things like that. But I want to say our thumbs up to you from all my Neighborhood Watch representatives. I will say that. And the minute that you ever feel like you just to jump in there and stand there strong for you again, I still have members of the Neighborhood Watch, and we have those signs saying Ogden City Night Watch Patrol, Neighborhood Watch, and we're ready to go in there and bat 100 for you. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Virginia Hernandez Reza, and I have not been here for quite some time. I see some adjustments here. It's good. I'm coming because I'm looking at two issues here. The first one is the Ogden High School restoration. I do want to say that in 2006, I, who was on that bonds committee at Ogden School District, I was selected by Superintendent Kathy Ortega. I was assigned to go into all the areas of Ogden City to get a voters registration drive going, to get our tax-paying homeowners to vote for that issue. It was quite an ordeal. I was able to interact from up to Harrison, above Harrison, to West Ogden, to South and North with the people. Weber State University, we set up booths at ATC, churches everywhere. I was over that committee. I do want to give kudos to Superintendent Kathy Ortega. She called me to be on this committee because I was a speaker for the low-income residential people who own the homes. So it was a good thing they were a big part of going out and voting for that bonds. So Ogden High School, my kids graduated from there, and it's a beautiful school. So we're very happy that they got recognized again today. I also knew Superintendent Noel Sawinski. I can't say his name. Wonderful man. He carried on through, and he supported all of us in the entire city. Okay, the other issue I want to talk about is Willie Moore. Willie Moore is a wonderful man. He's 90 years old. He's been here forever. When I had my two sons, 3 and 4, I would take them to go get their haircuts. They loved him to death. He could reach out and relate to all cultures. So Willie Moore deserves more recognition. That's why I'm coming tonight. I did think that he would be here tonight, but sadly to say he wasn't. But I did get feedback from my councilman, Mr. Gardner, that he did go to Kokomo, and I do know that, but a lot of people would not go because it's late and that type of thing. So I just want to speak for all the people I interact with that knew Willie Moore, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, American. We all just love him to death. So I want you to know he is a very well-respected and kind man and did a very good job. He did a very good business, brought in a lot of revenue for the city. And I want to say thank you, Mayor Caldwell. But I also want to give recognition to our past mayor, and I'm sure you would agree with that, Mayor Caldwell. Mayor Godfrey, he's the one that got all these hard programs putting in motion, and you're picking up the results of that, and you're doing an excellent job. Keep doing what you're doing. And I want to commend Mark Johnson. He's also excellent. I know his work from way back then. Very intelligent, brilliant man. I don't mean to be, what is it? It's the truth, what I'm saying. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
No other public comment. Comments from the mayor.
Yeah, I'll just say, what a great night of some really unique community recognitions. That was really energizing to see everybody in here and to be able to recognize some people that have done amazing things. I'm proud to work with you and with all of them and recognizing them. I think that's a great thing we can do collectively, and it was really fun. And I'd like to certainly wish everyone a warm holiday with their family and friends as we go into this next couple of weeks. So thank you for being here and wish you all the best.
Comments from council members.
Well, one thing from the new guy, I guess I'm still the new guy, but Susie, this is your last meeting, and that we'll officially have. You'll be a council member for a few more weeks, but I've appreciated your passion and excitement for the things that make Ogden great, and the example that you have been for me. I appreciate that. I wanted to say that publicly.
And Susie, thank you. On behalf of many, many citizens, but you and Dwayne, I know that you'll continue to be cheerleaders and champions for, this city, for the rodeo, for the Cowboys, for all of that brings so much to the heritage of this community. And also on behalf of my wife and myself, thank you.
I've got a speech for you when you leave.
You don't want to do it.
No, I will. I'm going to cry, so I'm going to hold off on that.
You one more time briefly.
Yes, we have one more.
But
We
this
have
is
one
it.
more official meeting, and that's the bringing on of the new council member, Marcia White, and I think she'll just do a fabulous job. And I think the city will be very pleased to have her up front and in this chair. I can do the last
It's
motion
yours.
to adjourn. That's right, I can do that. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn from Councilmember Van Hoosier and a second from Vice Chair Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And thanks, Doug.
Doug, it's good to hear your
You
voice.
bet. See ya. Bye.
Bye, Doug.
As a reminder, the City Council work session will be held immediately following. The purpose of the work session is to discuss the American Democracy Project, hold a council mayor discussion, and discuss a proposed zone text amendment.